Well, hopefully you can't hear the crazy strong wind that's going on out there. It's a beautiful day here in Florida. My hair is wet and I couldn't wait to have this conversation with you. This could be one of the most upsetting videos you've seen on my channel, but we have to talk about it because it's happening now and you have a choice to do something so amazing in your life and be a part of something beautiful and let go of what I'm about to talk about that's actually quite disturbing. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. Are you still arguing with people? Are you still looking at all these things and saying, I know this and this is how it is, and the fog and the drones, and what's with this Gucci bag or whatever, Dior bag? This is stupidity. This is stupidity. If you're talking about something legitimate, you can go ahead and talk about it. YouTube is not some crazy platform that wants to stifle us. It is a platform, a privilege to be here, and you may not agree with me, but I've been here for years, and I would never be able to talk about the things I do or reach the audiences without this platform, and I'm so thankful. We have to stop some of the fear from happening because it could be extremely damaging, and that's all that's going on. And it's not always easy to discriminate that, but I want to share something with you. No matter what you think about YouTube, you're here, and I want to share this information with you. It's very controversial. I hope you'll subscribe. It helps me stay alive here and get this message out. Without your support, creators out there, you know what? We'll start walking away, and that's going to start, actually it's starting to happen. I'm going to talk about what's happening with our future, and it's directly related to AI, those in power, and the old programs that are shifting into something way more advanced. The old guard who's not participating in the new programs, they don't care, aren't knowledgeable, they're still hanging out with the old stuff that's going on out there, and that's dissolving. When I talk about the new programs versus the old program was the kings and the queens and the governments needed the workers to stay as workers to keep the machine going. Without the very valuable workers, those in power cannot stay in power. There's nobody doing the work. I always say, if there's no workers in the field, there are no crops being developed. There's no people eating in the palace. That has worked. The program is money is bad, money is evil, go to church, give your money to the church, give your money to whatever, and work, and then we'll tell you where to put your money so you can make more money to retire. This is just insane. You know the routine, right? And so we'll control your money, and then when things tank, that should never be possible. It should never happen. There should never be a situation where you could lose your money, right? We're taking risks in areas that we shouldn't. Why? Because somebody else is using that money. We know the system. I'm a former investment banker. I spent 20 years in it, and I'm going to tell you something. I left because of what's going on there, coming online and finding out there's just as much craziness here, which is why I created Digital Explorers, and I'm going to tell you right now what is happening because I'm up on AI. I have my own courses. I am an influencer, and I want to share something with you. The new program is we don't need the workers in the fields anymore. Now, we talked about the Georgia Guidestones. I'm going to do a video on that. The ideal population is 500 million people. Why? Because what we've been doing, we have to take responsibility for this. This is what's going to be so shocking for you in this video today. If we have been destroyers of the planet and consumers, who is to blame? Now, if you're in power, I want you to think about this. There are creators and consumers. Now, the creators are consumers too, but they're the ones putting things in place. They're the ones creating things for the consumers to use. It cannot function without the consumers consuming what's created. A planet that is unconscious and polluted cannot be polluted unless the consumers are contributing to that. Some of you might not like this and you're going to blame, people in power. Now, I want you to think about this. Have you ever been in a situation, and this is the stuff that's going to really rile you up, but hear me out on this, because there's a great conclusion to this, and you're going to love it no matter what situation you are in. I want you to think about this. Have you ever been in a situation where you got together, whether it's a relationship or work or whatever, and you were the one doing all the work? And when everybody, volunteered to do something, you were the one, or you stayed the longer hours and you didn't even get paid more for it? Or nobody thanked you? And then there was and we call them the leech. There's always the leech that just sits on their butt, does as little as possible. Or the person who's always sick at work and, they don't show up and there's always excuses, or the victims, and it's always somebody else's problem. How do you look at that? How do you see that? You don't find them useful, do you? They're not useful. They're not contributing. They're not creating something new. They are consumers in whatever suits them, which most of the time is destructive. You guys using plastic, eating fast food, all that stuff. You are contributing to the world you may claim you hate. You are a part of it. We cannot be victims anymore. We have to be responsible. So now, have you been in that situation? I have many times, because I'm a hard worker. And I think, I don't need this person. I'm better off alone than I am with somebody who's just a taker, who really has no motivation or contributes in any positive way, in project or whatever it is. You've been there before. We all have. That's how the upper echelon thinks of most of us. When we stop contributing as consumers in the way they want us to, and AI is starting to eliminate that. They don't need the workers in the field. They don't need to tell us anything, because they actually are going to eliminate anything that doesn't contribute to society and is destructive to it. So if you're out there doing things that are destructive, then the upper echelon will see you destroying a world that they want to control, and you're not contributing anymore. They don't need you. Now, this is a mentality. And by the way, this is not to strike fear in you, because it's existed since the beginning of time. But because we have technology, now we're looking at AI can produce crops much more efficiently and cheaper. AI can build automobiles. AI can pretty much do anything. And it's accelerating at breakneck speed. If you decide that you are done destroying the planet, using things that harm the planet, because you're using things that the creators are putting in front of you. That includes health issues, popping things in your mouth because somebody tells you. They're creators that don't have your best intention in mind, because their motivation is financial. So you got to look at the frequency of the creator and the consumer. It's equal. It's equal. You can't blame them. Oh, they don't care about us. They're just making money. Yeah. What about you? What are you doing? We have to stop this ignorance and blame. What am I doing? We, as consumers, can put anybody out of business. Anybody out of business when we stop consuming and we start creating. Now, you guys know I created a business called digitalexplorers.net. And I want you to know that you can do this in your life right now. You can look at your life and say, am I relying on other people, things, institutions, governments? And I'm in fear because I feel like if those things don't work out, I'm screwed. then you have to shift into being a creator. What does that mean? You have to take charge of how you live your life, how you consume, and what you create. Now, all of you have amazing talents and skills, and there's nothing stopping you from using technology to create your own life. And I'm not saying you should be an online entrepreneur like my students, although we're creating planet conscious businesses. What in your life could you do that would shift you into a creator that brings value, that doesn't rely on you serving the creators who are not doing good things for the planet, the people, and animals? All right? Where are you working? How are people treating you? What are you consuming? If you do not shift, and I really mean this, like this could be a come to Jesus moment for you. If you do not shift into the position of the new world creator, and by the way, you might say, well, I'm not an entrepreneur, not everybody can be a creator. Absolutely, that is not true. Every tool exists for you, and it doesn't mean you have to be an entrepreneur, own your own business. I'm not saying if that's not for you. Creators could take any role. You could be a remote worker, coaching people, creating things, designing things, writing, music, anything, because it is possible. We don't have to be broke, talented, artistic people anymore. I'm taking people that, artists, starving artists, that's all gone. There's value in everything creative. What frequency of creation are you on? Now, I want you to think about if you are up here in the upper wealthy echelon and you're looking at the masses and how we are acting right now, what would you do? Hey, listen, I'm not going to conspiracy here at all. I'm not insinuating anything negative. You wouldn't have a love for all these people. Some of them will think of us as vermin that needs to be eliminated because it doesn't contribute. And I'm not sure that that's too way off base in many instances of how we're behaving. I'm not talking about what their thoughts about it. How many times can you save people before you realize they have to be creators? They have to learn how to be their awesome selves, because every single person on this planet holds amazing powers and the ability to be a creator. All creators are consumers, so consuming won't go away. And this is why, like the Georgia Guidestones, those people could have been the Rosicrucians, R.C. Christian, was that his name? He made it up. Rosicrucians, what are they looking at? A utopian world. What is a utopian world? Everybody contributes. Everyone. Even those who are disabled, even those who, whatever the situations, can contribute. Absolutely. Everybody has, there is no one victim that doesn't have something beautiful. And from some of these people, let's say somebody is brain dead or whatever, and you're pushing them around in a wheelchair. We have purpose then. And so they're not be able to contribute in the way that, would be obvious, but they're contributing in a way where we are allowed to be the givers, the caregivers, the compassionate ones. There's another purpose there, but I'm talking about those of you who still got this working. All right? Does this make sense? Put yourself in the position up here, and even as an awakened person, how are you looking at the masses who are arguing with, you saw my Twilight Zone video? They're arguing with one another, they're violent, they're stealing. How would you look at that? You'd say, I'm not going to support that. I'm not going to support that. And you would create other ways, but most of those people will not take that. Now what? Now what? What do we do with that? This is starting to make more sense, huh? If you're the person creating, inventing, taking action, look at Elon Musk. No matter what you think of him, look at what he's done. Have you seen Starlink? I'm going to put it up here now. Have you seen the Starlink communication systems? I don't care what you think, because that's your opinion and you are allowed that. I don't know anything about him to make an opinion one way or the other, but I know he's a technical genius, and I'm going to tell you right now, his motivation was supposedly that every person on the planet would have internet access. I'm not worried about us losing it. Is it possible? Yeah, I mean, the sun could fry us. You can't live your life like that. You have to be proactive. You have to be a creator. And a creator, again, doesn't mean you have to have any more talents and skills than you do now. You have to stop being the negative consumer. You have to be the person who stops blaming and the proactive person that lends a hand to other people. Not to be the enabler, but to show them how to be creators themselves. Show them how to access their talents and skills. Show them that there is something, even if it's using their traumatic experiences to show others how to be triumphant, how to change their lives. Nobody is a victim. We're all students here. Not victims, we're students. You can flunk that class, or you can become a PhD and do amazing things. So, now, put yourself in the shoes of somebody who is doing all kinds of things, non-stop, that could absolutely change the planet. And they're watching the masses destroy it. Let's say they're doing good things. They're watching the masses destroy it. What do you think is going through their head? So we talk about these billions of people that should go away. Are people just procreating without any guidance whatsoever and bringing children into the world that are going to suffer? How do we change those societies? How do we show them that there's another way that can bring children into a supportive, beautiful system? But we're not thinking that far ahead. How do we create a world where we can show people steps to create greatness and love and self-sufficiency and support? We have to be the solution makers. Otherwise, there will be that viewpoint that we are useless takers, consumers. We have to change it. Are you ready to be a creator? Are you ready to be a creator? I'm looking at what's happening with those who take care of each other on that high level, and they control a lot. What would happen if the majority of people controlled what was going on, but always had everyone else's best interests in mind? They were givers. They opposed no one. Didn't oppose those people. Because when you start to contribute, you're in the team. You might say no, and that might be true. There, on some level, there's going to be people who don't want you in their little private group. I guarantee you it's a small percentage. We know that. It's less than 1% on the planet. We're the majority. How do you become useful? How do you become the creator? How do you be the creator that's consuming that which is amazing? Now, I shared with you guys, I saw something on television that was so disturbing, that our government in California was paying foster parents more money if they were putting their foster kids on medications that they didn't need. That they didn't need, anxiety, all this other stuff, dope them up. That is part of the program of those lower frequency people, creators, who would just as soon see these useless human beings walk around like zombies. But they're using situations where if you take that opportunity, you are now the negative consumer. You cannot blame them because you're tempted by money. So are you any different if you're doing it? Are you any different than those up here who care more about money than people? No. It's not about the volume, how much. It's about the mentality. There's new legislation that went in and is protecting these kids and saying they need rights. They have rights now, and we're going to speak up for them. These kids shouldn't be on medications. Every time there's a problem, you know what we do? We pop a pill. That has to end. That programming has to end, and it can only end if you participate in it. In the new creation, not that one. And those in power who do care, and there's a lot of them, believe me, there's a lot. I know you might not think so. You think money's evil, that's a programming too. So guess what? Those of you who are told money's evil, you're going to feel guilty about having money. You're going to stay broke. It's working. Yeah, money's evil. Let's pop a bottle of, Dom Perignon to that one, right? Think about this. And stop arguing with one another. Look at my Twilight Zone episode. Rod Serling, brilliant. And aliens. Now, I don't want to pick on aliens because they're actually not doing this. They said, we don't have to do anything. They're destroying themselves. All you have to do is put a little paranoia in them. Make them think that something's going on. They don't trust each other. We don't trust each other. So, if you can look at the program this way, it might make more sense that those who really don't care about others would just as soon see that go away, because it's a negative consumer. It's a negative consumer. We have AI that I think is beautiful, a wonderful thing. Everything's how it's used. Everything's how it's used. There's no negative anything. Everything's a balance, right? Things that happen in your life that seem negative are beautiful gifts. I call them gifts. It's going to take you to a new place, right? And then you're doing this. You can't accomplish those goals. You can't learn without the challenges, without the gifts. What are you going to do with them? Are you ready to step into a new world and be the creator? Those of you who are entrepreneurial, I have free webinars that'll show you what I did when I realized that even online people are all, you don't know what online business to start? Do this one, bookkeeping, Amazon. And I'm like, no, that has nothing to do with what I want to do with my life and how I want to contribute. Even that is a sales pitch to make money. And they're making the money, you're not. I guarantee you, right? It's just more working on your greed, which is no different than those in power. Oh, we're okay. No. If we're thinking that way, we're not okay. This is a major spiritual butt kick. We're creating at Digital Explorers Planet Conscious Businesses, and we spend a great deal of time figuring out what you want to do that absolutely is going to provide purpose, the purpose and passion that you have dreamed of, and you won't even know what it is. I haven't had one student was crystal clear on that. Isn't that sad? We should be brought up that way. What do you love? What do you love, Jane? What do you love, Tommy? Let's pursue it. Let's go. And maybe you change your mind later on, but at least you've got to explore it. There are no rules. There are no rules at Digital Explorers, except for one thing. I want you to be super clear about what it is you're going to do, how we're going to earn money doing it. And you got to really love it. You got to really love it. And I'll create with you multiple income streams going out there so you will have money. Our whole goal is to get you producing income, doing something you love that has a positive impact on the planet, but most of all, on your life. It's going to feel right and good. You're going to feel like every day you get up, you have purpose. I work about 10 hours a day. I don't even think I'm working. I'm like, ooh, I have to get in front of the computer again and write this or do a course or shoot videos. When you have purpose, then you realize you're integrating that which we separate. Let's go destroy the planet at a job, but I have to make money, so it's okay. But God forbid, creators on YouTube channels promote any of our stuff. Mine's changing the planet. How are you earning? We've got to take responsibility. No more blaming. No more blaming them. We can become one of them on a high frequency. And these worlds will come together because we are the consumers. You hold great power. I want you to look at everything you're doing. Those of you, you've seen I have an Amazon influencer store. I'm choosing all kinds of things that are non-plastic, non-toxic, no animals. Somebody said, oh, she says she's a vegan, she eats cheese. No, actually, I gave up cheese. I did some research. I found out they don't treat animals very well. Some farms might. If they do, I'm fine with that. This is about you, not somebody else. This is about you. No more, they're doing this, they said this is what. Sending me patents on how to make fog. Big whoop. That means nothing. Of course you can make fog. Get used to it, because we're going through big changes. And it's going to be different than what you've known, and the weather's going to change, and things are going to seem weird. Don't be the, you know, ooh, a God has appeared. That's how we're acting. The witch hunts. Stop it. Stop it. So I hope what I said made sense. So instead of looking at them as the bad people, that's the mentality the lower frequency ones want you to stay in, so that you don't go after that power on the highest frequency and become a creator. All right? You ready for this? So I hope you'll subscribe and share this video. I don't know, I might get shut down. That's okay. That's okay. You know, I'll shoot more videos. They're all positive to empower you, because you're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. I hope those of you who are entrepreneurial put aside, well, how am I going to make money? I don't have anything. Stop. We handle all that. You're in the old program. We come over and we create. And then we become smart business owners with actual business strategies to go into that space where we can reach global audiences with whatever you're going to offer that's positive. I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.